Waiter who insulted Big SHAQ women didn't know he owned the restaurant? The quiet murmur inside the Crest View, one of Chicago's finest dining spots, suddenly snapped into sharp silence. It was the kind of silence that felt like it could press down on everyone's chest. Jake Thompson, the restaurant's general manager, stood frozen just outside the kitchen, eyes locked on the main dining room where the tension had exploded. At a corner table, 28-year-old Marcus Allen, a confident yet brash waiter, was mid-argument with a woman seated alone, Samantha Reed, a local influencer known for her outspoken views. "You don't belong here, sweetheart," Marcus sneered, his voice low but cutting. "This place isn't for people like you." The clinking of glasses stopped. Conversations halted. Every patron in the room was now a witness to the uncomfortable showdown. What Marcus didn't realize, what no one did, was that the man quietly, watching from a shadowed booth was none other than Samuel Big SHAQ Reed, the owner of the restaurant and Samantha's estranged father, known across the city for his business empire and low-profile lifestyle. Jake's jaw tightened. This was not just a simple restaurant spat. This was about to change everything. Forever. Marcus Allen wasn't just any waiter. He was loud, cocky, and had built a reputation for pushing boundaries with customers. At 28, he thrived on the edge, thinking he could say whatever he wanted without consequences. Tonight, his sharp tongue had found a target in Samantha Reed, a woman known for her bold social media presence and fearless attitude. She was used to handling critics, but Marcus's words cut deeper than most, especially in this upscale restaurant where respect was expected. Samantha sat stiffly, cheeks flushed with a mix of anger and disbelief. "You think you can talk to me like that?" she snapped, voice steady despite the tension. Marcus smirked, leaning in just enough to let his words drip with condescension. "I'm just telling it like it is. This place? It's for paying customers, not attention seekers." The room held its breath. Some customers shifted uncomfortably. Others watched with a mix of curiosity and judgment. Jake Thompson, the manager, stepped forward, his expression tight but controlled. "Marcus, cool it," Jake warned, voice low but firm. "We don't need this kind of scene tonight." But Marcus wasn't done. "Why? Afraid she'll blow up? Your little secret?" His words were a spark thrown into dry tinder. Samantha's eyes narrowed. "What secret?" Before Marcus could reply, a deep voice cut through the room, a voice that made everyone stop and turn. "Maybe it's time you learned who really runs this place." Samuel Big SHAQ Reed rose from his seat, his presence commanding and calm. The room's energy shifted instantly, from tension to shock. Marcus's confident facade faltered for the first time as he realized this was no ordinary customer confrontation. This was about to become personal. The weight of Samuel Reed's words hung heavy in the air, cutting through the tension like a knife. Marcus froze, the confident bravado slipping from his face. Suddenly, this wasn't just a rude exchange. It was a moment that would change everything. Samuel, the restaurant owner, wasn't just a wealthy man. He was Samantha's older brother, fiercely protective and silent until now. His calm voice carried the power of authority, but also a quiet disappointment. "Marcus," Samuel said, stepping closer, "this isn't just about you or Samantha. It's about respect. Respect for the people who keep this place running and the families we serve." Marcus swallowed hard, feeling the eyes of every customer and staff member drilling into him. His usual smirk was gone, replaced by something closer to guilt. I didn't know," Marcus muttered, voice low, almost ashamed. Samuel nodded, slowly. "That's part of the problem. You don't see beyond your attitude. But this isn't just a job or a paycheck. It's about dignity." At that moment, Samantha's eyes softened, sensing the shift. Marcus wasn't just a reckless waiter anymore. He was a man forced to confront the consequences of his actions, in front of everyone. The restaurant, once filled with quiet tension, seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see if Marcus would rise to the moment or fall apart. Marcus's shoulders sagged as he looked down at the floor, the noisy chatter of the restaurant fading into the background. For the first time in years, the mask of arrogance cracked, revealing something vulnerable underneath. He wasn't always this way. Growing up in a tough neighborhood on the outskirts of Chicago, Marcus had learned early that respect was something you demanded, never something freely given. His father had left when he was a kid, and his mother worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. School was a battleground, and kindness was a weakness he couldn't afford. Every day was a fight. To prove he mattered, to show he wasn't going to be pushed around. That defense mechanism became his identity. But here, in this upscale restaurant, he was lost, trying to fit into a world that wasn't built for him, and masking his insecurities with attitude. The harsh words he had thrown at Samantha were less about her and more about his own frustration, his own fear of failing. Samuel's gaze softened as he noticed the change flickering in Marcus's eyes. "Look, Marcus," he said quietly, "I get it. Life hasn't been easy, but that doesn't give you the right to disrespect others." He paused, then offered something unexpected. "I'm going to give you a chance, right here, right now. Work for me. Show me you can change. Not because you have to, but because you want to." Marcus blinked, surprised by the offer. It wasn't just a job. This was an opportunity to rewrite his story, to finally step out of the shadow of his past. The days that followed were anything but easy. Marcus found himself under Samuel's watchful eye, working not just to serve tables, but to prove something deeper, to himself and everyone around him. One evening, after the rush had died down and the restaurant was quiet, Samuel called Marcus into his office. The heavy door closed behind them, the ambient noise fading until it was just the 2 of them in that polished, dimly lit room. Samuel's expression was serious, but there was a spark of something else, hope, maybe even pride. "Marcus," he began, "there's more to this than just giving you a job. You see, this restaurant," he gestured around the room, "it's been in my family for generations. My father started it with nothing but a dream and a relentless drive." Marcus listened, his curiosity piqued. "But more than that," Samuel continued, "I've been watching you. I saw how you handled yourself when things got tough. That moment with Samantha, it wasn't just a mistake, it was a turning point. And I believe you have the potential to do something bigger." Samuel slid a folder across the desk. Marcus opened it to find plans for an expansion, community outreach programs, scholarships for youth from rough neighborhoods, job training initiatives. "I want you to be part of this," Samuel said. "Not just as an employee, but as a leader, to help people like you find their way, to build something that lasts." The weight of the offer hit Marcus like a wave. This was more than a job. This was a chance to change his path, to become the man he'd always wanted to be but never thought possible. He looked up, determination flashing in his eyes for the first time that night. "I'm in," he said firmly. The room seemed to brighten, as if Samuel's faith in Marcus had already begun to rewrite both their futures. Outside, the city lights flickered on, signaling a new beginning, not just for a restaurant, but for a young man ready to rise. The night of the big community event arrived, a celebration that would mark the launch of the new outreach programs and the restaurant's renewed mission. The space buzzed with anticipation, guests filling every corner, local leaders, families, and old friends who had watched Marcus grow. Marcus stood backstage, heart pounding in his chest. The weight of everything, the mistakes, the struggles, and now this opportunity, weighed on him. His hands trembled slightly as he adjusted his shirt. But there was no turning back. When Samuel called him up to the microphone, silence fell over the crowd. Every eye was on Marcus now, the young man who had once been just a waiter, now the symbol of hope and transformation. Taking a deep breath, Marcus stepped forward and began to speak. His voice was steady but raw with emotion. "I wasn't always the person you see today. Not long ago, I made choices that nearly cost me everything." He paused, scanning the faces before him, searching for understanding. But someone saw past my mistakes. Samuel believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And that belief gave me a chance to change, to become more than I ever thought possible. A wave of emotion broke through. Tears welled in his eyes, but he held firm. "Tonight isn't just about this restaurant or me. It's about every single person who's ever been overlooked, underestimated, or written off. We all deserve a second chance. The crowd erupted in applause, cheers and whistles filling the room. Marcus's chest swelled with a mix of relief, pride, and an overwhelming sense of belonging. As he stepped down, Samuel came up beside him, clapping him on the back with a smile that said, "You did it." In that moment, Marcus wasn't just a waiter anymore. He was a beacon of redemption, a living proof that with faith, courage, and hard work, transformation is possible, even when the odds seem impossible. Outside, the city's night sky stretched wide, full of endless possibilities. Marcus's journey had only just begun. Weeks after the event, the restaurant buzzed with a new kind of energy. Marcus walked through the dining room, not as a waiter, but as a trusted manager, a leader who had earned his place. The same customers who once doubted him now greeted him with respect and warmth. In a quiet moment, Samuel pulled Marcus aside. "You changed this place, and so much more," he said, eyes glistening. "Your story reminded all of us that no matter where we come from, our past doesn't have to define our future." Marcus nodded, thinking of all the nights he spent doubting himself, weighed down by shame and regret. But now those shadows were behind him, replaced by purpose and hope. Outside the restaurant, a new mural had been painted, a vibrant portrait of Marcus, Samuel, and the community that had rallied around them. It wasn't just a symbol of one man's redemption, but a beacon for anyone fighting their own battles. The legacy Marcus built wasn't just in the restaurant's success, but in the hearts he inspired. Young people from the neighborhood began to see that setbacks aren't the end. They're just the beginning of a new chapter. One afternoon, as Marcus opened the doors for a group of local teens eager to learn about hospitality and leadership, he smiled. This was the real victory, the chance to pay forward the kindness and belief he once received. His journey, from a waiter scorned to a respected leader, had come full circle. And while the road had been hard, it was proof that redemption is always possible. The future was wide open, and Marcus was ready to meet it head-on, not just as a man who had changed his own life, but as one who would change countless others. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to smash that thumbs up and hit subscribe for more unforgettable, emotional, and viral true stories. We want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell us, where in the world are you watching from?